Hi everyone. Today I'm feeling guided to talk about leadership, specifically heart-centered leadership. So one of the things that's happening in the world right now is we are beginning to see what I call the end of the old world and the beginning of the new world. So we're beginning to see the final collapse of all of the structures that were created under our old fear-based 3D reality matrix world. Pick the label that works for you. Personally, I just refer to it as the old fear-based reality, as we're moving now into a love-based reality, which is, what people are starting to call the fifth dimension. So one thing for clarification when people start talking about dimensions is to understand that these dimensions are dimensions of consciousness. They aren't someplace else that we go to. They're actually dimensions of consciousness that exist within ourselves. And this is about finding those dimensions of consciousness within ourselves. And when each of us do, we create a new reality that's based on that level of consciousness, which is why we can begin creating a 5D reality on top of the existing 3D reality that is very quickly going to melt away as more and more people move into a fourth dimension, which is where we process our lives. That's where we do the shadow work. It's where we process our lives. It's where we discover the magic of who we are all capable of being. That's where we let go of everything that is not loving. So there's a lot of work that's done within 4D, and there's also an incredible amount of love and light that comes into 4D. So we can move into a pure love, unconditional love reality. That is ultimately where we are heading. So what does this have to do with leadership? Well, one of the things I've been talking about for years, and I think the world as a whole is finally ready to grasp, is that we don't need anyone to lead us. We don't need presidents or kings or magistrates or popes or governors. We don't need leadership models. And what's really interesting is that one of the things I've been seeing lately is they're destroying our democracy. Well, you know what? Maybe it's time to let all that go, because the whole entire concept of democracy was created in the old fear-based world where we needed other people to represent us. And we needed a leader, supposedly, to guide us because we were living in a fear-based reality, and there were a whole bunch of rules that needed to be in place to keep humanity supposedly under control. So rather than teaching people how to self-regulate through love, our systems were teaching people more fear, and in fear, people need to be controlled. So those are all old systems, all based in fear, all based in duality, all based in the belief that human beings need to be controlled. The truth is, when more of us discover the loving essence that we are, we can learn to self-regulate through love. In self-regulating through love, we don't need any regulations. We don't need leaders. We don't need presidents. We don't need governments. We don't need any of that. All we need is to remember the loving essence of who we are and come together in unity and harmony and cooperation for the greatest good, the highest and greatest good of all concerned. Now, I know this is a concept that is brand new for people, the idea of not having a president, because so many people are waiting for a better president than the one we presently have. And there's always this waiting for a new leader, right? That the president before sucked, so let's get a new president to replace him. That's all part of the old paradigm. That's an old story. And it's all based in fear, and it's all based in division. It's all based in the belief that human beings need to be controlled. So let's stop focusing on that. Let's stop focusing on who the next president's going to be. And some of you know what I'm talking about. Let's stop thinking about bringing an old president back to life or resurrecting something that no longer serves humanity. This isn't about that. Everything the human experience is experiencing right now is about remembering who we are. It's about remembering, that is, bringing back into the member of who we are, because we have all these disowned aspects that made us believe that we're not whole, complete, and perfect, which we all are. We're all divine beings, divine love, divine spirit, having a human experience. We are all already perfect. We just need to remember that we are. We are all love embodied in human form, and we just need to remember that love is the essence of who we are. When we remember who we are, we remember we don't need anybody else to tell us what to do. We don't need anybody else creating rules for us to follow. We don't need leaders hovering over the human experience. We don't need a police force. We don't need rules. We don't need regulations. We don't need prisons. We don't need governments. We don't need any of that. When enough of us remember who we are, we the people, we're the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones that will recreate our world. We are the ones that will save humanity from itself. And you know what? And humanity doesn't really even need saving. We just need to reconstruct our world. Humanity just needs to remember that they are all love, that we are all love embodied, that we are all aspects of the great I am that I am. We are all that. When enough of us begin to remember that we are all that, we are all that this world needs, we are all that divine creators having a human experience, we are all collectively responsible for creating our reality, we are all love having a human experience. When enough of us remember that, all of those old systems will go by the wayside. Quite frankly, we don't need systems at all. Because when enough of us remember that we are love, and that through love all things are possible, and that we are all infinitely connected to the divine without the need for any middlemen, any, I'm a spiritual teacher, but I'm not asking people to follow me. It's not like that. I am here to help guide you home to the truth of who you are within yourselves. This isn't about me at all. My role is to help you remember who you are so that you can find your own inner guidance, your own intuition, your own inner teacher. You find your own heart-centered leader within and stop looking outside yourselves for guidance. Stop looking outside yourselves for a leader. Stop looking outside yourselves for a savior. Stop looking outside yourselves to create, put new governments into place. What's really going to be happening over the next few years is all the governments are going to start crumbling. All of our systems are going to start crumbling. And this is going to be really scary for people who really think they need this codependent relationship with their governments and codependent relationship with their systems. The truth is we don't need it. In a purely loving environment, we don't need all of that. And all that is about to go by the wayside. And a lot of people are going to freak out when they realize their systems are not there for them anymore, because we have become so addicted to our rules and so addicted to our regulations and so addicted to our systems and so addicted to our governments and so addicted to our religiosities and so addicted to someone else telling us what to do. And we as a collective of humanity are growing up. We're growing up and remembering who we are. We the people. This year is where we the people meet. We're the ones we've been waiting for, and we finally understand what that means. It isn't about, reinforcing democracy or voting in a new president or recreating our systems. It's actually about collapsing all those systems so we can create something entirely new that is based 100% in love, 100% in freedom, 100% in sovereignty, and 100% in the truth that we are all connected infinitely to the divine, to the Mother, Father, Source, Creator, infinite love, infinite wisdom, infinite intelligence, infinite allness. So we are all that. When enough of us start to understand that, we really see that we are creators. We're creator beings. That is how we're made in the image and likeness of God. We create. And we are now being called upon to recreate our world in the way we want it to be, not in the way anyone has ever told us it needs to be. All those controls and controllers are going by the wayside. It's our turn now. It's the people's turn to create a world that works for all of us. No one person above another. No one being above another. No one worth more or worth less than another. No one valued more or valued less than another. When human beings really understand what the term domain means, yes, humanity was given dominion over Earth, but dominion and domination mean two very different things. This is our domain to be in care of. We were given dominion over Earth to care for all life on Earth, with love and with joy and with gratitude, being of mutual service and mutual support, to love every aspect of the human experience and every aspect of the Earth experience, to love every animal as we love our own families, to love the trees and the grass and the air and the ocean as we would our own mother. This is all about finding leadership within ourselves. That ability to guide ourselves in love. When we're in the vibration of love, there is no desire to do harm to anyone or anything at any time. Love simply will not allow even the possibility of harm. Yes, I'm one of those silly people that gathers up spiders and takes them outside to put them on the plants because I don't have it in me to even kill spiders. They're actually really amazing creatures. So that's some of my little side tangents. But I wanted to remind all of you that rather than trying to figure out how to fix our systems and fix what isn't working, we've been trying to fix it for forever. That's why they keep recreating the same, trying to fix an old wheel that is broken. It's broken. Let's stop trying to fix what's broken and create something entirely new. Because everything that's broken is broken because it's based in fear and it just doesn't work anymore. In this reality we're creating, this new high vibration planet that we're now on, this high vibration reality we're creating, those old systems can't exist. They were built on quicksand and they are collapsing into the nothingness from whence they came. They were all built on fear and cannot sustain themselves. I mean, this is the whole thing that they've been talking about, right? Sustainability, sustainability, sustainability. That too is part of the old construct. We don't want to just sustain. We don't want to sustain our government systems. We don't want to sustain our health systems. We don't want to sustain our education systems. We don't want to sustain our religiosity systems. We want to create something entirely new where all life on Earth thrives and prospers. Mere sustenance isn't good enough for us anymore. We want the whole package. We are divine beings having a human experience. Why would we settle for mere sustenance? Why would we settle for maintaining and sustaining the status quo? We're here to create something better than that. This new reality we're creating is about the betterment of humanity. It's about the unification of all life on Earth. It's about awakening the humanitarianism that exists within every one of us. It's about awakening the heart center that is wanting to expand itself out through each one of us. That light of the Christ consciousness, Christ child that exists in our heart, wanting to be expressed out through each one of us. And no, this isn't about worshiping Yeshua. He never wanted to be worshipped. He had no interest in being adorned. He was trying to teach people how to free themselves from these systems that existed back then and are still existing today because we didn't see 2,000 years ago that we had it within ourselves to collapse our systems. Today we have that. And each one of us has been gifted the spark of Christ consciousness within our hearts to be able to put an end to all those old systems, to find the leadership within ourselves. And this leadership isn't about follow me. This leadership is about, come on everybody, let's go do this. With enthusiasm, not passion. This is a little language lesson for you today. For some of you who've been following me for a while, I'm really big on wordplay. And for me, this is about impeccability with your word, which is more than just, typically when people talk about being impeccable with your word, it's about saying what you're going to do and then do what you say you're going to do. And holding yourself in absolute integrity to your word. Being impeccable with your word also means being very, very careful about the words that you choose. So a perfect example of this that I use regularly in my life is I have removed the word passion from my repertoire of language and replaced it with the word enthusiasm. I did this about 10 years ago because I discovered the word passion means suffering. The word compassion means to be with those who are suffering. So a lot of us who are light workers and empaths feel that compassion for the rest of humanity. And this is really important as we watch the rest of humanity go through its suffering, to be in that heart of compassion. And when it comes to doing our own work, to replace the word passion with enthusiasm. That is how we get out of our own suffering. And the word enthusiasm is based in the root word entheos, which means in God, in the divine. So when we put enthusiasm into our work, we're bringing the divine into our work. If we put passion into our work, we're bringing suffering into our work. So you might consider letting that word passion go, releasing it back into the universe to be used elsewhere, no longer to be used within your own reality as you now bring enthusiasm into everything you do. Well, we are all being called to lead in our own way. That is leading from the heart that's within every one of us, wanting to express itself as me, as you, as the new leaders of this new reality we're creating. Free of ego, free of arrogance, free of trying to make people see things your way. It's all about being true to yourself, true to the divine being that you are, true to the heart center that wants to express itself through you. To thine own self be true. Be true to the God source experiencing itself through you. That's really what the first commandment is all about. It's about recognizing and worshiping only the divine, wanting to express itself through you. Putting the Mother, Father, Creator back up on the mantle to guide us, direct us, protect us, nurture us, support us, and remove all of the other beings and things off the mantles that we've put up there in forms of worship. The movie stars working in their false light, the sports stars in their false light, the beliefs that hold us in fear, the politicians and the corporations and bureaucrats and bureaucracies that we've put up on the mantle as somehow believing they're better than us. Yes, they think they're better than us. We know different than that. We know they are no better than us, and we know we are no better than anyone else. This reality we're creating is about the betterment of all life on earth, about finding the true value and true worth as all princes and princesses of the Most High, as creator beings having a human experience. all of us leading from the heart center, as all those old pretend roles of leadership cease to exist. So as they start crumbling, remember, this is for humanity's highest and greatest good. Allow them to crumble without resistance, and find the leader within that gathers up the people in your communities to create entirely new concepts that serve the highest and greatest good. It's a whole new kind of leadership, because it doesn't put anyone above another, but there are people who need to be responsible for remembering that we're the ones we've been waiting for, and are willing to step out and start gathering people. Not in the old sense of I'm gathering my tribe, because I don't own anyone. This whole idea, it's funny that I think I mentioned this last time, of you stole my clients, because I see people do that to each other. And the funny thing is, nobody belongs to anyone else. This whole idea that anybody belongs to anyone else is part of the old construct as well. I am merely here to help guide you home to God, to Source, to love, to the divine, whatever your name is, for one of the 1,000 names for God. To find that within yourself, that internal guidance that is always connected to the infinite. Divine love, divine guidance as you. So that's my message for you today, to remember that it really is going to be okay. And you really don't need anyone to lead you. And now some of us are here. I know my role on the planet is to help guide you home to your own truth until you're ready to find the guidance within yourself. And remember, as always, to hold your light so high others can't help but see their own light. Your light is a guiding light. And the greater you shine, the more other people will find that guiding light within themselves. Together we are creating a world of peace, harmony, prosperity, freedom, love for all life on earth. And as always, get bold, be fearless, and live free.